What's up? Episode 2, we're live. What's up, Nick? How you doing?
Good man. I'm out here in the Sunshine State. Got my I don't want to say wife beater. I got my tank top on.
Let's go. You're in Rosemary, right?
Rosemary, yeah. Not too far from you. Might head out, a couple days, go visit Justin.
A little 5-hour drive here to Jax. Let's go. Beautiful Sunshine State. I love it. So let's get right into this, dude. We're following up on last time. Last time we talked about what greatness means to us and we introduced ourselves, but I think we should dive a little deeper and talk about why we believe investing in yourself is the best investment you can make. And I would love for you to just kick us off here about why you believe that and maybe some things you've done, some things that people can do. And we'd just love to hear your perspective there. So let's get right into it, man. Why do you think investing in yourself is the ultimate investment?
Yeah, I mean, looking back, I think sports really trained me to have that mindset. I think for 25 years on a daily basis, I was investing in body, mind, and spirit. Um, to the max. And it probably by the time I got to, I mean, college, post college, and kind of pros is when I really, dialed it in and I, saw what 20 years of work, um, how it sprang me into a new stage, in life. But um, man, I mean, and we can dive into body, mind, and spirit, but at a high level, it's just finding a way to improve every single day. Whether that's working out, whether that's self-development, whether it's working on your faith, 'cause faith is a muscle. Probably can dive into examples of each, but yeah, man, it got me, to the NFL and then, you know, into the private equity world, after that. And like I said,
Well,
can dive
let's
into
let's
that,
do
but
that. Do that because like let's go there. Yeah, like body, mind, spirit. I believe in those two. So like, tell me like specifically, maybe something for each, like how you thought investing in each one of those areas helped get you to where you are today.
yeah, I used to be a lot better about, training my body. And I think that's probably the fundamental, you know, foundation. But I think consistently working out teaches you discipline and process, um, and just the fundamentals of life. And I think, you can use that framework, in multiple areas of your life. But, going back to sports, man, I mean, it was, consistent training and working out for hours and hours a day for, 2 decades. Not really, and there's only certain time periods where you get feedback where you're doing the right thing in terms of like the actual outcome that you're trying to get. Whether that's in a game, whether that's being recruited. Um, I mean, I had one offer coming out of college. I probably worked harder than, I mean, it's insane how hard I worked. But I was always doing the right thing, and it always led to, at least, an inch in the door that I could kick open, that brought me to, a new level. Um, then when you get to college, and I'm speaking from the sports framework, but, you know, football was mostly a mental game, and it was
Mm.
not only like knowing a playbook and what to do under like extreme stress, but it was managing your, emotions. So I had to figure out different, tools and techniques to um, really dial in my mindset. Um,
Can you talk
you know,
about that? Like, was there specific things you learned from like a book or a podcast or from someone like your coach taught you that under stress you would have to utilize these tools so you didn't get too high or too low to keep going when you know it's crunch time, when it's game time?
yeah, I mean, um, I mean, a lot of stuff goes back to just focusing on what you can control. And, a lot of that is your training and your preparation. And there's a quote, and I can't exactly remember it, but um, you don't rise to the level of the occasion, you fall to the level of your training. I think it's a like a Navy SEAL kind of motto. Um,
Love that.
but it's just about, you know, putting in the work during the week, and going out and perform on game day and in life. But um, a lot of it is just, getting rid of stuff that, like I said, you can't, control and constantly feeding your mind with you know, positive things. Because your brain is like set up to automatically see the negative in every environment, and it'll fill that void in your mind with negativity and doubt and fear if you're not consciously um, you know pouring life and positivity into yourself. And I should probably take a lot of my own advice here, my self-talk, but um,
It's tough
there's
out
just
there.
times, man, you can be so dialed in on your job, and you just put so many physical and mental reps, into doing something, whatever it is, and it just leads to, you know, really good outcomes. And then just raises the kind of level of your, uh, standard. And I think it's just, striving for excellence. There's a whole, faith component, as well that can give you uh, strength and focus. Um,
Talk about that because I think that's important too.
yeah, man. I mean, honestly, I've seen very, amazing things, in my life. I mean, I grew up a Christian. Dad, prayed with me every night, went to church. A lot of how I've seen and experienced God is through sports and through suffering and through just a crazy journey. Um, over the past 25 years, I'd say, I haven't struggled in life in terms of unmet needs, but just like extreme torture through, sport, battling it out, every single day. And just, I mean, just really painful stuff. Like think like, torn muscles and broken bones. Just a lot of psychological, torment over the years, trying to make it. And a lot of that, draws you closer to, God and your life source.
Hmm.
But yeah, man, we can do a whole podcast on faith. I got a crazy, crazy testimony. I've seen physical, you know, signs from God, over the course of years and things coming full circle. Um, Still see it on a daily basis, but you got to tune your mind in to that type of stuff because
Hmm.
what the devil does is he distracts you with either busyness, boredom, pleasure, and that radio signal can get um, turned off. And so I mean, and that goes back to pouring positivity and life in yourself every single day because things can get busy really quick, and then before you know, if you're a centimeter off every single day, I mean, you can be over the course of months and years, you can be really far off your goal.
For sure.
A lot of things
You,
I'm remembering over the years, but I'll get off my soapbox now.
Dude, you never have a soapbox. But so I heard four things there. I heard, your psychology. I heard your emotionality. I heard your physiology, and I heard spirituality. That's sort of what I heard. And I think those four, you can call them quadrants, whatever. I think those are like that's the core, right? Because everyone always talks about mindset, like, oh, just your mindset and stuff, right? But like, I think to me, it's so much more than that. I really do think those four things. Obviously, mindset's important. Your emotions, how you feel about certain things, like, because if you're always angry or sad or fearful, like that's not fun. Then you have to process those. And if you're not letting go of things that aren't serving you, it's just even harder to get to where you want to go, right? Um, I heard physiology. You talked about moving your body first. I think that's one of the best things you can do. When you move your body, you change your state, which is really important. And then spirituality. You talked about God. I think people can call it the universe, whatever their life force is for them, their creator. I think that is really important too because when times are tough, you talked about shit, dude, going through injuries, breaking bones. Like, all right, what do I do now? I'm trying to play in the NFL. Like, how can I move forward when I can't really see the path? Like, that's when you have to sort of tap into that, I think. And then you just said too, like being aware and tapping into that on a day-to-day basis. I think that's really important. And I think I could do a better job there. Um, but yeah, I really think that.
That's why I hang out with Justin, man. He just always speaking fire into me. I need it.
And so I hang out with you, man. I mean, who you hang out with is really important. It's for me, it's one of the biggest influences, and I think a great predictor of your life, like who you surround yourself with, who you listen to, like because everyone's got people speaking into them, but like who you choose to let in, that's really really important. Um,
And I can speak to a specific tactic there that I learned over the years. I mean, you don't have to physically be, you know, present with these people. It's who you spend your time with and um, who you let pour into. And a lot of that was through podcasts and YouTube and reading books. I mean, there was a time where like the people I was hanging out with were Marcus Aurelius, the guy Napoleon Hill, Les Brown, Ed Milet, Tony Robbins.
go
This is probably during kind of COVID time period and while I was playing football. But I mean, I'm talking like 10 plus hours a day, just like
it's
having
a great
stuff in my
squad.
ear or reading books on it, man. And that's when I was the most, I mean, just dialed in, man. And that time period of my life, really transformed and set me up for a new chapter. Um, you don't see it though for years, and you don't necessarily during that time period realize how it's transforming you. But 100% agree on who you spend your time with is who you are, and you have to be very very conscious with um, the folks and the ideas that you're listening to and thinking about on a you know minutely basis.
Yeah, and dude, you touched on something right there. You said you won't see it for years, and I think that's really important because that's what investing is. That's why we're doing this podcast. Like why the best investment is yourself. Just like if you were to invest in the stock market, say you invest $100, the stock's $100. You're probably not going to see it go up for a few years, right? And you're just like, well, why isn't it go? A week later, like, why isn't it going up? That's not how it works. That's not how investing works. And so, when you're investing in yourself, like you're the asset. And so, just like you plant the seed, you water it. Like I think the best analogy is like the bamboo tree, where like I don't think it grows for like 6 or 7 years, but then it just spurts like on like year 6 or 7. And that's how I look at investing in yourself. And it's tough though. Like we've been doing this for a while. That's how we became friends because we talked about this kind of stuff. Like imagine if we didn't, maybe we didn't click on that, we probably wouldn't be having this podcast right now. And I think personal growth and investing in yourself leads to a lot of better relationships because you know yourself, you understand yourself better, so you can have better friendships, you can have probably better mentors, you just have a better life. Um, and so, just like investing in the stock market and real estate, yourself, it takes time, but in yourself, the cool thing is like no one can take that away from you. Like the stock market, it can crash. The real estate, God forbid, can have a tornado or hurricane wipe it away. Like I've seen that happen with some of the properties that we've been involved with. Um, and so I firmly believe that investing in yourself is the ultimate investment. Um, You just talked about becoming a lot more resilient. I think it gives you a lot more clarity and purpose. There's a compound effect to this stuff too, just like investing. Like you start young, through time, you'll get better, which I think is super fun and awesome, but it's tough too. And I think the coolest thing is like when you invest in yourself, you're actually like changing like the world in a way. It sounds weird. I think when I say it out loud like that, to me that sounds weird, but like you're getting better, you're filling your own cup first, and then you can help other people, become a
Yeah.
better version of themselves. Like that's like a ripple effect, and I think that's the coolest thing. But invest. It starts with investing in yourself, and you talked about podcast, books, all that kind of stuff. I think it's the best thing you can do. And I have this one quote that we can go back to talking about money for a second. I think it's a Jim Rohn quote, but he talks about formal education will make you a living, but self education will make you a fortune. I totally believe in that. Not just fortune financially, but just fortune and abundance in friendships and great emotions, and just having an awesome life. I truly believe that. And I think too the coolest thing about this is I think someone interviewed Warren Buffett like forever ago, and they asked him like, "It's Warren Buffett, dude. He's like the best billionaire. He's one of the best investors of all time. Like, I gotta ask him what the best investment is, right?" And he asked him, Warren, what's been your best investment? And he said, myself. And he talks about how he went to Dale Carnegie course and learned how to speak and like learn how to communicate more and become a better leader. And I was like, dude, if Warren Buffett, like super billionaire, is saying that, like, there's something to this stuff, right? So that's why I think it's the best investment. And it's an everyday thing, like you said, and you got to constantly keep doing it, just like you'd invest in anything else financially. You should invest in yourself. I think even more. Like, I think if you work on yourself more, harder than you work on your business or anything else in your life, you'll just have a great life. And so, do you want to talk about some more tactical stuff? Like we talked about podcasts, or is there anything else that you want to talk about?
Man, um, I mean, because I think that that's the important part is, taking what you learn in these books, um, podcasts, videos, whatever, and taking one or two things and adding them to your tool belt to actually use, um, in your life. Um,
Do you have a favorite takeaway from like a book or podcast that you implemented? Like something that was just like a game changer over time?
I'll tell you something from the Bible that's, had,
Okay.
profound impact in my life, and I've gotten away from it, but kind of during my hardest, just challenging period in my life. Can't remember the specific book, but Jesus was talking about, if you have faith of the size of a mustard seed, you can move mountains. And I went and bought mustard seeds from Whole Foods, and I would look at one, think of that verse, and I would eat. I mean, they're tiny, like tiny, and I'm like, man, if I have faith the size of this, like real faith, like I can do anything. And it was something I did for over a year, 18 months. Just it was something that was, just top of mind um, every single day that kind of set my intention, for that day. I mean, that's been, I probably need to get back to it.
Buying you some mustard seeds.
I mean, I still got it somewhere, man. Journaling was another thing. Um, it's a form of, spiritual cleansing. Um, Getting stuff out onto paper, uh, really helps. That's probably another, tactical thing. Even just, writing down what you're grateful for. Because a lot of the basic stuff can get just lost in, the busyness of life.
Hmm.
And just to going back, like that's what the devil does, man. Like he makes things busy and procrastinate and lose your focus and your, intention. I think that's one of the main, reasons that people, get lost in life. You know, they get busy, or, there's a term, idle hands are the workshop of the devil. Um, and that's when you're sitting around just like kind of doing nothing, and you're bored, or you're just like chasing a bunch of, you know, pleasure, whatever that is. I mean, it could be women, it could be food, it could be anything where you're, chasing those highs. And a lot of that is just, you know, not sustainable, and not the best way to live. Man, I should have thought about more tactical things. I've done really crazy hard workouts over the years.
That, I mean, dude, that's a good one that builds resiliency. Like that's like in the moment, it shows you like what you're made of, really. I mean,
Yeah,
I hate running, and I try to do a few runs a week, and like there'll be times too, and I got a little tendonitis in my Achilles, but I still do it just to like do something hard, not just to do hard things to do hard things. Like there's a purpose behind it. It's just like showing myself like this is where I'm at, this is what I'm handling. Like I'm gaining confidence in myself too, though, when I'm pushing past that breaking point. I mean, dude, I can only imagine NFL workouts. Like I'd be dead. But like that stuff's like shows you like, hey, like I'm the best of the best. Like I'm there. Like because of we talked about the mental part earlier, like the physiology, like your emotionality, like all those stuff they're coming together in that workout, and that's a real time thing. Like you're in the moment. That's a real thing, dude. I believe in that 100%.
yeah, man. There's been, there's different stages of life require different, versions of yourself. And like I said, I didn't get picked up in the 2020 draft, and so I had like a full year in to kind of train on my own. And some of the workouts I did like had no correlation to football other than just making you mentally tough. Like one of these days, I looked up like what the tallest building of the world was, and I was gonna do the Stairmaster. Um, and it was like 120 stories or something. I can't remember exactly what it was, but when I was at 119, I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna do two of them. So the tallest building in the world times two, I'll do in Stairmaster. Um, one day I rode like on a row machine, like
Yeah,
a marathon, like so it took four
and
hours, and there was a bunch of snow outside. We couldn't do anything. A lot
that's
of
a
just
lot.
Yeah, dude, it was. It was. But yeah, man, I mean, no real correlation other than just pissed off at life, making
That,
myself,
that
a
can be a
lot
good
tougher.
motivator. That can be a good motivator
Yeah,
moment, dude. Anger.
no, it got me through
Yeah.
it, man. It got me through it. But yeah, I mean, there's a lot of areas I fall short now. Um, being a husband and a father, and you know, building out businesses, and the whole nine yards. And it's good to have conversations like this to keep what's important top of mind, um, and kind of reorganize my life to focus on what's important.
I
So
think
yeah.
I think we all fall short of the standard every once in a while though too though, and that could be a day, that could be a week, that could be a few months. And I think too, if like you got high standards for yourself, like that, I think that I don't like to use the word should, but like that happens. Like it just you fall short, and then you realize that, and you get back on the path. And through that process, I think stuff like this is awesome. Reading books and surrounding yourself with the right people. I want to get into more some tactical stuff that we can leave people with because again, I think investing in yourself is just the people that I've met that are actually like successful in life, like holistically, like a life of health, wealth, love, happiness, not just like business, like we like to talk about. They invest in themselves like very heavily. For me personally, I can just talk about some of the stuff I do. Like for mentoring and coaches, like I just take 10% of what I earn every year and I just put that right into like a coach, a course, a book, whatever. Like I have 10% I just spend on myself. That's like my rule. Sometimes I go over, sometimes I go less. Um, and I don't think that's got to be anything crazy. So you got $1,000, like use $100 to like go buy a few books, like go take that course, like go find something that can improve your life, like build a skill set. That's something that no one can take away from you. And again, you don't even have to spend money nowadays. Like literally YouTube, Spotify, that stuff's a blessing. Like it can be bad, but if you're focused on it, you can type in like you mentioned Les Brown, like Ed Milet, Tony Robbins, like Marcus Aurelius. You can type in all the stuff for free, and you can learn from some of the best of the best. And having those people in your circle will change your life. And that's an investment in yourself. And I think everyone should have their own, the president has his cabinet, companies got their board seats, their board. I think everyone should have that for their own life. You should have your own mentors and stuff. And I think that's a podcast I want to have down the road of just like why you should do that. But that investment in yourself, it'll literally change your life. Again, books, podcasts, surrounding yourself with the right people. Find if you're a business person, or a carpenter, or whatever. Like if you're a carpenter, go find the best carpenter in town that you can learn from. If you're in, if you're a if you're a lawn care business owner, try to go find someone who's been there, done that, and like have them teach you what they've done. I think the more niche you can get for your specific goal, the better, because you got to know where you're at and where you're trying to go to. Um, but again, back to like what Nick was talking about earlier, like your psychology, your emotionality, your physiology, and your spirituality. I think those, if you can focus on one thing for each four, and just like focus on that, and give yourself some time to invest in that, because it takes I think what is it 66 days to form a habit. Like the first 21 days are like you're literally like it's rewiring your brain, so it's really hard. It's not fun. So you want to get up earlier. I know I'm doing this right now. I'm trying to get up earlier, but I'm setting my alarm, and it sucks. And I usually don't wake up with an alarm, but I want to get up earlier if I'm doing that. But like you get up, and then in the middle of it, it's a little easier, and then at the end, you're integrating. But you got to keep it up for 66 days. And if you can find something for your psychology, let's just say it's a book, go do that. For your emotionality, maybe it's therapy, maybe it's a coach, maybe it's just a friend you can talk about some stuff. Maybe it's a video of learning how to let go. Letting Go is a great book by David Hawkins. Your physiology, that's something I think you should sweat every day, if not 5, 6 days a week for sure. Like I'm talking like go do like a sauna, go do like a hard workout, a run, something like that. And then your spirituality, man, this is something I got to work on. Um, whether that's God for some people or whatever, like tap into that higher purpose, like your creator. I think that's really important as well. And just focus on four things there. And I think that'll actually like give people a big improvement. What do you think?
Yeah. No, I think you said it well, man. Um, it's the little things that make a big difference. It's not, you know, it's not something that anybody can't do, man. It's all doable, and like you said, it's just rewiring your brain to form a new habit, and it's tough, man. Warren Buffett has a quote about habits, becoming like chains over time. Can't remember the specific quote. Do you know that one, Justin?
It's like the chains of habit are too strong to be felt. Like once they're full, yeah, I know
Yeah,
what you're
once they're yeah. So I mean, it's real. You just want to be sure you're making the right habits.
No, yeah, I'm gonna give a shout.
Anyways,
I'm reading this one book right now. I know Nick, you've read this, 5 a.m. Club. This is one of my favorite books. It talks about all this kind of stuff. So if you need an actual book, like this is a really good one. And like it just happens that 5 a.m. like waking up in that time, and then I'm reading this one too. Inner Excellence is a really good book. AJ Brown was reading this on the sideline. You read this one? That's
I haven't.
it's
I've
good.
probably heard quotes from it.
Uh,
I'm reading Robert Greene's I think it's 48 Laws of Power.
okay.
I think I've listened to the audiobook. Audiobooks are another good thing to get in, and they're different than kind of podcasts. Just like another tactical thing. Whether you're in the car, a lot of good stuff you can. you get to nowadays with technology and videos and podcasts, man. But
Uh,
yeah, I probably need to read that Inner Excellence too. Been hearing good things about it.
really good. So, dude, we're coming up on time. Anything you want to leave the people with? I think we should close it out here.
Man, just keep chopping every single day. Um, Small incremental improvements have, you know, massive, effects over time. You've just got to stay, dialed in on whatever your, you know, North Star is and however you measure it, your KPIs. So just keep chopping.
Love it. Couldn't said it better myself. So we'll close out here. This is episode 2. We'll have some cool guests in the future. Nick's got some he's got some awesome guests in the pipeline that we'll have on here. So we're still figuring out our cadence and everything. But guys, just stay tuned. We'll have some awesome stuff coming out soon. All right. Peace. Oh, let's leave.